Hi, I'm Carl Azus, and one important thing that I've learned from my reporting on CNN 10 is that Fridays are awesome. Welcome to the show. Our first report, soldiers with the U.S. National Guard, part of the military, are headed to the border between America and Mexico. President Donald Trump signed a memorandum earlier this week to deploy the Guard there. He wrote that under former presidents George W. Bush and Barack Obama, the National Guard supported efforts to secure America's southern border, and that the crisis there once again calls for the Guard to help protect the border and the U.S. homeland. The president also says gangs and large amounts of illegal drugs are flowing across that border. In December, the government reported that illegal border crossings were at a 46-year low for the last fiscal year under President Trump. But a separate report released this week said the number of people trying to illegally cross the border increased dramatically in March, more than 200% over the number for last March. The Trump administration says historically, border crossings increase in the spring months. But critics say the president is inappropriately using the military to secure the border because he's frustrated that Congress hasn't approved funding yet for the new wall he wants to build there. The number of National Guard soldiers, the cost of sending them, their exact locations, and the length of their deployment are all still being worked out. Another announcement by President Trump we've covered recently involves the new U.S. tariffs on certain goods from China. Part of the reason for that, the Trump administration blames China for stealing $300 billion worth of U.S. intellectual property. Things like books, clothing, designs, music, photographs, and art. This could include illegally reproducing goods that were patented in the U.S., or the act of pirating, illegally copying or distributing movies and TV. Outside China, the Asian country of Singapore is one place where media piracy is rampant. Andrew Stevens has a look at a small box that's a big target of major media and entertainment companies who want to protect their intellectual property.
The most common form of content piracy in Asia is either through illegal online sites or more likely through one of these, a media streaming box or illicit streaming device known as an ISD. They're sold openly across the region. Most come with preloaded software that, when hooked up to the internet, provide access to literally thousands of TV, sports and movie channels across the world. This is Sim Lim Square. It's an electronics shopping mall in Singapore. I've been told it's the easiest place in the city to buy a media streaming box. I want to see how true that is. We're not allowed to take cameras in, but inside I counted at least half a dozen shops openly selling ISDs loaded with software for a one-off payment of between $100 and $300. Well, that was very painless. I've just spent $150 on an HD streaming device. It's got 1,500 channels. They loaded it for me. It took about 10 minutes or so. All I have to do now is plug it in and play. Let's see how it works. It was pretty much as simple as that. The box was soon streaming latest movies, English Premier League football, news including CNN, and hit US and British TV series, all content I should be paying for, so I shut it down. But the industry is fighting back. Pay TV operators Singtel and StarHub and content providers Fox Networks and Premier League football have taken action against two ISD sellers in the Singapore State Court. That follows successful legal action against ISD sellers in the United Kingdom, Hong Kong, Thailand and Malaysia.
Action.
But fighting piracy is likely to be a long and drawn-out battle. Unlike the fight scenes the stuntmen practice for this scene in Grisay, it's still not at all clear whether the law will win. Andrew Stevens, CNN, Singapore.
A CNN hero in Dallas, Texas is making news for helping people who've served time as juvenile offenders. More than 40% of young people who've been convicted of a crime in Texas are incarcerated again within 3 years. But a chef named Chad Hauser found a way to help former youth offenders serve meals instead of time. And his work has helped hundreds of people get restaurant training and help with their education and careers.
In 2007, I was at the top of my game.
Oh, I'd like to take a bath in that.
I was nominated as Best Up-and-Coming Chef in Dallas. My career was taking off. Then, I had the opportunity to teach 8 young men inside a Dallas County juvenile detention facility.
Hey.
how to make ice cream for an ice cream competition. One of the young men won the whole thing. He came running up to me, screaming at the top of his lungs, "Sir, I just love to cook!" And I just bent my knees, cocked my arms, and screamed right back at him, "Sir, me too!" How many of you guys are gonna go home and you need help? He told me when he got released, he was gonna get a job in a restaurant. I realized that, the odds of him ever making it were between slim and none. You guys are some of the hardest working, some of the most genuine, some of the most honest people I've ever met. It was one thing to tell the kids that I believed in them. It was another thing to prove it. And to me, the way to prove it was to show them that I was willing to bet my whole career on them. Cafe Momentum is a 12-month paid post-release internship for young men and women exiting Dallas County juvenile detention facilities.
When we talk about coming to Cafe Momentum, we talk a lot about commitment. But who do you commit to? Who has your best interest in mind? You do. So who's going to make the best choices for you? You are. It's you committing to yourself.
The interns work their way through every station in the restaurant: dishwasher, prep cook, line cook, busser, server, host, hostess. We're getting them back in school. We have classes like financial literacy training, even parenting classes. They're writing their resume, they're going through mock interviews. Dallas is one of the most philanthropic communities in the country, but it's also one of the most segregated. A little barbecue, never hurt nobody. We have a large population of kids that live in poverty and live without a home. Waiting tables is about time management. He has really learned to do a good job of how to manage that, and it comes across effortlessly. That when he used to talk trash about me to tables.
My life kind of started off rocky. I was in and out of jail from 11 to 16. When I got out of jail, my probation officer told me about Cafe Momentum. It's another family for me.
These kids can and will rise to whatever level of expectation is set for them, as long as you give them the tools, resources, and opportunity to get there.
According to Samsung, the average person born after 1980 will take 25,000 selfies in his or her lifetime. And now in Glendale, California, there's a museum of selfies. It's called the Museum of Selfies. It features the world's longest selfie stick, which measures 90 feet. It features historic selfies, reproductions of self-portraits by Renaissance masters, and it features plenty of places where you can take a selfie. So is it shameless selfie promotion or selfie aggrandizement? Does it selfie help selfie-proclaimed selfie self-porters with their selfie confidence or selfie esteem? Guess if you believe in your selfie and know thy selfie and plan to suit your selfie by helping your selfie to a selfie-funded ticket to the Selfie Museum, you'll easily be able to make your selfie at home. I'm Carl Azuch for CNN 10.